In 2020, Democrats took full control of Washington.
And it will give Democrats control of the Senate.
Joe Biden has been elected.
But Republicans stood up in the states.
There was no blue wave. Democratic down-ballot disasters carried all the way to the state legislatures.
Now, we're the last line of defense against the Democrats' socialist agenda. The ways we're fighting back are bigger than you think. Welcome back to another episode of Is Bigger Than You Think, a conversation about the state politics that most impact your daily life. I'm Annie Moore. I'm the host, and with me today is Tori. She's a senior at Page County High School in Virginia, and she's just going to kind of be talking about how these school closures have impacted her and her classmates and their futures, their families, communities, all of it, because it's just kind of a domino effect. So Tori, you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself? What kind of things are you involved in school, things like that?
All right. Well, first thing, thank you for having me here with you. I am a senior at Page County High School. I've been involved in track, marching band, musicals, pretty much everything school involved, student council, class officers, all that kind of stuff. With the school closures, it's been really hard because that was my whole life and that was my social outlet. And my family really pushed me to be like, hey, get your associate's degree. Hey, go to school. Hey, go and make friends. But once that was torn, it was torn away from me. It was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my life? And I hit kind of a low because I was like, I don't know what to do.
I can only imagine. When did your school first shut down?
So it was actually March 13th, I want to say. It was a Friday. Everybody, they were like, hey, if you guys want to come to school this day, you can. If not, it's completely optional. I think in total, we have 400 kids in the high school. Only 50 students came. So it was kind of really saddening to see that was the last time I was going to see all my peers.
That's wild. So my youngest two siblings were seniors in high school last year. They're twins. Mm-hmm. And they initially thought that they were like, oh, we're going to get an extra 2 weeks of spring break. This is so exciting, whatever. And then they just never went back. Has your school gone back in yet or no?
So they did just start going back. It was honestly the way that Page County has done it has absolutely screwed over their students. Page County gave paper packets or they gave Schoology. And they were like, okay, teachers, if you want to post a video on how to do it here, you can do it. Other teachers did not. So most students were teaching themselves. Wow. I would reach out to my peers to check on them. And they were like, I don't school. I used to hate school and I would do anything to be back in school. Some of the most troublemaking kids or your troublemakers, they would be like, I want to go back. I regret ever saying that I hated school because I can't do this. And then now my brother, he's really struggling because he's an avid football player. He is a sophomore this year, and the varsity football team's we want Ty. But because Ty has ADHD and he has a lot of other, not really disorders, but learning disabilities, he really struggled throughout this. And now he's struggling to get his grades up. And they're like, nope, you can't play football because you didn't get your grades up. But we never had the same resources as the other schools did, because we could not do Zoom. We could not do Google Meets. We could not do anything because instead of trying to make those 100 kids that did not have internet, trying to find a solution for them, they made over 400 students suffer. And it doesn't feel like the school board cares. They have not reached out to us. They have not reached out to see how we're coping with this. And Gonzalez, one of the videos, she was like, if we can get the seniors to pass, and then proceeded to laugh. So we don't feel like we have any support from our school system. And I went to see my teachers the other day. I got lost in the high school that I've been in for 4 years. It's kind of funny, but kind of really sad. But that's kind of the reality that we're facing because it's not the same.
Yeah. No, because the reason that kids enjoy school, some kids enjoy the learning part, right? But a lot of kids, it's the sports, it's the social interaction, it's all of that. Do you think that this is going to have long-term social and academic implications for you and your classmates?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Honestly, my saving grace was working because that provided me my social interaction, because school was my entire life. And when I lost that, I didn't have that. Well, not many kids have that opportunity. they have now become, because parents, your single parent families or your lower income families, they have to work. So your high school students especially have taken over that parent role if there is a younger sibling. Well, they're trying to keep the house in order and help teach their younger siblings, and therefore they're slacking off on their stuff, but they need those classes to A, now play sports, and B, be able to prepare for college.
I saw a stat that the failure rates in Virginia are a lot higher than they have been in the past. I want to say like 83% or something like that in certain counties, which is insane. Have you or like your classmates, have you heard, are they struggling academically?
When students went home, they lost the structure that school provided them. Page County students were just floundering, like just overwhelmed. They have a new program to learn. They have to do everything at home and everything.
I can't imagine how frustrating that is. Plus, you're a senior. Like, this is kind of your last year. Do you feel like you've missed out on a lot of things because your school was shut down?
I absolutely. I mean, I've worked my butt off. I watched like the seniors when I was little walk through the elementary schools the last time. I saw like the whole senior prank day, the senior trip, the ditch day or whatever they do, or senior skip day. And I was looking forward to that so much, and to lose that was really hard. And I mean, I know a lot of us went through a huge battle with some of the 2020 seniors where they were like, we had it just as bad. Like, everybody has it bad. You have no right to feel like the way that you feel. So a lot of us took it harder because everybody's telling us, oh, like, everybody's got it hard right now, not just you. You're going to get over it. But like when we graduate and we like look back on this, everybody has those great memories and we don't. Like, yes, they lost half their year, but they got the first half that we didn't even get to experience. But it also made me realize that school's not everything. So I was planning to go to a university. I've given up on that. I'm just like, I would rather just rock it out at community college, because school was such a positive emotion for me. That was my drive. And now I want absolutely nothing to do with it. I don't want to continue school right now because it's just such a negative emotion. I would rather just get out there and work. Like, mom's like, why do you work so much? Like, you're working full-time hours. And I'm like, because that's my outlet right now. That's the only thing that's bringing me that joy, because as soon as I sit down and think about how my senior years went, it's depressing. I went and took my senior pictures the other week, and my smile is the fakest smile you would ever see, because there's nothing to celebrate.
Yeah.
So as like me personally, it's too late for us. It honestly is too late for us seniors, but I'm trying to like prevent this from continuing on to the juniors and maybe even the sophomores. That is my goal at this point, because I mean, the only thing left for us is a graduation, and they're still denying that to us.
What do you wish that, some of the Democrats who have kept your schools from reopening, what do you wish that they would have done instead?
Well, first off, I think that, I understand like taking the time to kind of reevaluate and like see how everything's going. But at the same time, I feel like more consideration could have gone towards the students. My mom's been like really heavy into politics lately, and she said the first student voice that she's seen was mine. She said that it doesn't seem like there's been any communication with the students to really see how they're doing. I haven't had many reach out personally, or my brother reach out to see how that we're doing. And I watched Todd Gilbert took it to the state legislators, and one of the Democrats instantly shut it down right after. But at the same time, look at the mental impact on the students. Like, you say that you're preparing us for the real life, yet you're taking it all away. Like, the one outlet that we've had, but we can't go to work, or we can't prepare. We just get to sit at home.
Do you think that as a senior that you guys are prepared, like your whole class, do you think you're prepared for the real world now, or no?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the reason I say that is because we lost the social interactions that are so important to being successful. I'm not saying that we didn't have it those first 3 years, But now this is the time that, hey, we have scholarships going on. Hey, this is kind of the stuff that you're going to be experiencing out in the real world. CNA, hey, this is the time that you have work and like you're going to go start doing clinicals and getting that real experience. Now it's condensed into a week. Those trade schools that we were supposed to be doing right now, like through the tech center, are really being impacted. We're still having that access, but not nearly like we should be. And it's deflected so many kids from them because they're like, why do I want to go do a tech if I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue through it? I wanted to quit CNA so many times because I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish it. I was like, what's the point if they're not going to let me take my state test? So those job aspects have been taken away, but the communication skills, like everything's over text and phone now. A lot of kids have social anxiety, and school was that outlet to help them overcome that, and that was gone. So it's just a lot of mental and physical barriers that we all now have to face.
How do you think this has kind of impacted entire families in your community?
It's destroyed parents relationships with their students. I have seen this firsthand. The students are rebelling against their parents because their parents are like, hey, you need to do your work. Hey, you need to do this, because they've taken on that teacher role. And that's not the role that they signed up for. They can't provide the guidance that's needed. One of my close friends or family friends, her son wants absolutely nothing to do with her now because he's a sophomore this year and he just wants to stay in his room because his social interaction was school. And now he just has his mom telling him that he needs to do schoolwork every single day. My mom pushed me to stay in CNA, and I would get so mad at her because I'm like, what's the point? I don't care anymore. So students are really they don't care anymore. And it's hurting the parents because they want them to care and they're trying to provide that motivation. But the students aren't seeing it that way because it doesn't feel like the school cares. So why should we care? And so they're just thinking that their parents are just trying to pretty much punish them.
If you could say anything to Virginia's leadership right now, what would you want to say to them?
Pay attention to what the school systems are doing to their students, because some school systems are excelling right now, and then others are just like Paige is lowering their standards because they automatically gave us 50% to push us through. So when some of the skills that we need, we're not learning them. I mean, Virginia's leadership really needs to pay attention to how is the school systems preparing these young minds to let them out to help shape us. I mean, that's when we are most adaptive to change. Mm-hmm. And if we're not getting the right outlets and the right learning experiences, then your students are floundering. And if they're suffering with mental illness, domestic violence, and all of these things at such a young age, how is this going to impact us when we reach our early 20s, our 30s? How are we going to raise our kids if we are missing this crucial component of our childhood? That's kind of what it really boils down to, is everything that happens to us right now really affects us long term. How is it going to be like when we continue on to learn for our careers? Like continuing into college, most of my friends don't even want to continue. They just I just want to be out, done with school. I'm going to take a gap year. Well, some kids don't go back after a gap year.
Sure.
If they're wanting us to be successful, they failed. They have absolutely failed because there is many other ways that things could have been done. They're not giving us that learning environment that we need to succeed. And therefore it's going to backfire once we all get out of school and we realize that, well, we don't have to do it. They're not going to want to excel anymore. They're just going to settle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what it boils down to, is nobody cares.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and I wish you good luck. Hopefully some people see this message and these schools get you guys in some structure. Maybe it's too late for you and some of your classmates, but hopefully for the underclassmen, they can kind of get there.
And that's my goal. Is I just want them to realize that there is some hope for them. It might be too late for us, but we got some tough love. Well, I think us 2021 seniors are going to pull through, but it's the younger ones that I worry most about.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope everyone has a good week, and always remember that state politics have an impact that's bigger than you think.